Hello everyone, welcome back to another election prediction video. This time we're taking a look at the 2025 and 2026 gubernatorial elections. I'm including Virginia and New Jersey in this video just to have them. But yeah, we'll start off with Virginia and New Jersey to begin with. So before I get into this video, if you aren't subscribed to the channel yet, you should totally subscribe. If you enjoy political videos like this one, I would appreciate it a lot. So let's just get started. So we're starting off with Virginia, and it looks more and more likely that Democrats are going to win this race. Sears isn't really campaigning that well. Spanberger's a very strong Democrat, too, and she's leading in most of the polling by a pretty decent margin, sometimes even by over 10 points, or at 10%. But I think she wins by about 6 as of right now. I don't think it's tilt D at all based on this rate. I think it's going to be likely blue. So I think Democrats are going to do well in Virginia's gubernatorial race. So I have this as a likely blue, and that's a flip for the Democrats. They gain a governorship out of that. In New Jersey, I think the environment has improved a bit more for Democrats in the state of New Jersey, and with Mikey Sherrill most likely winning the Democratic primary, she's a pretty strong candidate, but she is winning most of the county party endorsements too, which is pretty big in the primary. But with Sherrill most likely becoming the Democratic nominee, that's probably the best candidate Democrats can get. Josh Gottheimer would also be a good candidate, but he's pretty behind in the primary polling. In the Republican primary, we're probably going to see, let's see. Oh yeah, Jack Ciattarelli's finally declared. But I think he'd be the favorite to win the Republican primary. Strong candidate as well. He made this a lean blue race last time around when he was running against, I forgot his name. I think it was Murphy. But he made it close last time around. But he's facing a stronger candidate in Mikey Sherrill, and I think she'd be the favorite to win New Jersey by a likely blue margin. So now that we're done with the 2025 gubernatorial elections, we're going to 2026. So let's get with the safe red states set up. These states are really just not going to be competitive at all. I'm including Florida. I just don't see competitive in any scenario, honestly, unless it's like Matt Gaetz running for the Republicans. And even then, he would probably be the slight favorite to win that race. So now we're setting up with the safe blue states. Yeah, Colorado is probably going to see a former senator or a current senator run here for governor, Michael Bennet. So I think he's probably likely to run there, and he's definitely a good candidate for the Democrats to have. Okay, so let's get right into it. Starting with Vermont, New Hampshire, I'm putting these as safe Republican. Vermont, Phil Scott just constantly wins by landslides, and if he runs for re-election, which I assume he is, he's going to win. In New Hampshire, the current Republican governor won by 9 points in 2024, and with her up for re-election again, Kelly Oyette, I think she's going to win by 11 this time around because she is pretty popular in her terms of her approval ratings. So going over to Texas is Greg Abbott. Let's just take a look if there's any Democratic candidates that are good enough to potentially run here. So far, we don't got any Democratic candidates set up in the Democratic primary. But I did hear Joaquin Castro is considering running for governor against Greg Abbott. Still, though, Abbott has decently popular approval ratings, so I still have him as a pretty heavy favorite to win the governor's race by over 10%. In Alaska, it looks like Mary Patola is leaning towards running for governor in Alaska, so it really depends on her announcement. If she announces she's running, then I would put it to lean blue. But for now, without uncertainty, I'm putting this as a lean Republican race. In New York, Michael Lawler was expressing interest in running for governor of New York, but right now he's kind of leaning towards not doing it. So it's tough to tell what's going on in New York, but for now I'm putting this as a likely blue state. I think Hochul will win by, I don't know, maybe a bigger margin than 2024. I think she'll win by like 8 instead of 6, so a bit of an improvement for her. Do you think she's the favorite to win the Democratic primary, still just based off the primary polls I've seen? In Kansas, it is an open race. The incumbent Democrat, cannot run. However, the lieutenant governor can run, and I think he'd be the best candidate for Democrats to really run in this race. But for now, I'm putting this as a. Let's see who's running the Republican side, though. Oh, Secretary of State. So I think he'd be a pretty good candidate for the Republicans to run. Just based off the partisan lean of this state, I'm putting this as likely Republican. This state could go down to lean Republican, though, if the Democrats nominate a good candidate. So in New Mexico, Democrats are likely to nominate a pretty strong candidate, so I'm putting this as likely blue. Let's see. In Maine, I really don't know what's going on here. Jared Golden's being a bit iffy about whether or not he runs for governor of Maine. Troy Jackson, he's probably the favorite to be the candidate for the Democrats here, a decent candidate for them to run. Let's see on the Republican side. Anyone good? Not a lot of good candidates here, honestly. So I'm putting this as a likely blue state for now. Could go to safe blue. Let's head to Nevada next, because Nevada is interesting. Even though the Republican governor has pretty high approvals here, he is facing a very strong opponent in Aaron Ford, the Nevada Attorney General. So I do think he has a decent shot here against Joe Lombardo. But Lombardo still is the favorite. I still think he wins by a lean Republican margin here. Next up, we're going to Oregon, but I am putting this as a likely blue state because the current Oregon governor doesn't have the best approval rating. It's a bit on the lower side for the safe blue state. In Minnesota, I would say that Tim Walz probably runs for re-election as governor of Minnesota, so I'm putting this as a likely blue state. Pennsylvania, we have Josh Shapiro, very popular governor. I think he wins by a safe blue margin. His approval rating is nearing 60%. And the Republicans, let's just see what type of candidates they have. So far, it looks like that Doug Mastriano is leaning towards running again. So Republicans might nominate Mastriano yet again for governor of Pennsylvania. So that's pretty interesting. But I'm putting this as a safe blue state. Iowa, I'm putting as likely Republican. Kim Reynolds' approval rating isn't the best, but it's still like a Trump plus 13 state. He won it by a pretty substantial margin, so I'm putting this as likely R. In Ohio, Vivek Ramaswamy is the front runner to win the governorship here. He's leading in the Republican primary by a pretty substantial margin in most of these polls, so Republicans, if they wanted the best chance of winning, they should have went with Dave Yost, but it looks like it doesn't matter anymore because Vivek has such a huge lead. But Vivek's also going to be a pretty weak candidate, just considering a lot of his political positions are pretty right-wing for this state. He also has a lot of unpopular positions as well, so that's definitely going to hurt him. But in the polling, so far, it looks like Vivek is definitely struggling against Amy Acton. We could also see Tim Ryan run or Sherrod Brown, but so far it looks like it's going to be a competitive race in Ohio because it is an open one and Vivek is a weak candidate. I'm putting as lean Republican. In Georgia, so far, let's just take a look at the candidates. So what happened was Lucy McBath, she ended her exploratory committee due to family concerns, but she's still open to running in this race. If the Democrats nominate McBath or Jason Carter, they have pretty good odds at winning the governorship here. However, with Keisha Lance Bottoms going to be announcing that she's running for Georgia and Stacey Abrams in the mix as well, I think right now Georgia's governorship is leaning towards the Republicans. So I'm putting this tilt Republican. It's really dependent on who runs right now, but so far it looks like Republicans are the narrow favorites to win. In Wisconsin, I would say Tony Evers is leaning towards running again for re-election. He has good approval ratings, and considering Democrats won a pretty good win in Wisconsin in April, I think Democrats are the favorites to win the Wisconsin governorship. In Michigan, it's a very interesting race. We have three candidates running. We have a Democrat, a Republican, and an independent. And with Mike Duggan, he's definitely going to hurt Democrats in Detroit. But so far, according to the polling, it's not that terrible for the Democrats. They still have a good shot at winning the governorship, even with Mike Duggan getting 16 to 20% of the vote here. But he will have a negative impact on Democrats in the race because he will take votes away from the Democrats in Detroit. So I would still say this race is leaning towards the Democrats. The Republican bench really isn't that good for the Republican primary so far, and the Democratic candidates are just a lot better. So I'm putting this as a lean blue race in Michigan, but it is a race to keep an eye on. Just because Mike Duggan's running as an independent. But my prediction is Mike Duggan, he's not going to get even like above 10% of the vote. It's probably going to land like 7%, maybe even less than that. Again, third parties poll high at the start of the race, and then they diminish as the race goes on because they run out of money or voters want to vote strategically because he has no chance of winning. So that's kind of what I think will happen to Mike Duggan. I think he'll just decline and decline down to 7, not really being a huge burden on the Democrats anymore like he is right now. In Arizona, Katie Hobbs is probably one of the more vulnerable Democratic governors right now, but she is facing someone pretty right-wing in Andy Biggs. But like we saw in 2024, even though Trump was pretty right-wing, he still managed to win Arizona. But this is a midterm. He's not on the ballot. It's also going to see a bluer electorate than 2024, which is good for Katie Hobbs as well. She also has incumbency advantage in this state. She also is not facing a primary challenger, which is also beneficial to her. And her approval rating is slightly recovering in most polls I've seen. But so far, Andy Biggs has led against her in a recent poll. Katie Hobbs also led against Biggs a couple months ago as well. So this is a close race. It really just depends on turnout, honestly. But right now, I think that with Hobbs's approval rating narrowly improving in the state of Arizona, I think she's a narrow favorite to win. So the main changes here were Georgia and Arizona for my last video, but this is just currently how I see the 2026 gubernatorial elections turning out. And I'd like to thank you guys for watching. Let me know any video recommendation ideas in the comments below. And thanks so much, and I'll see y'all in the next video. Bye.